Hi, I'm Kristen Jurevich with Intero Real Estate Services. I hope everyone's having a great day today. Thank you for coming to the buying process webinar. I am hoping to answer some of your top burning questions with the 5 steps to buying a home. So let's get you ready to say yes to the address. So please feel free to send a message in the chat box or send me a question. I'd be happy to answer as soon as I can, just going through this webinar. I am live, so please let me know how I can help you. And thanks for joining. So what I'm going to do now is share my screen so you can see what's going on here. All right, it's loading up so everyone sees that beautiful house in downtown Hollister on West Street. It's a cute little bungalow home that was sold a few years ago. So it's always charming, wanted to bring it back. So like I said before, my name is Kristen Jurevich with Intero Real Estate, and I am here to talk about the buying process. I am a second-generation realtor. I have been in real estate for over 12 years, and I am a homegrown Hollister gal. I grew up here, and I lived in San Francisco, where I obtained my Bachelor's of Science in Interior Design, as well as a track and field athlete. So if you are looking for someone to get something done, I'm here. That's me. So here's an overview of what we're going to be discussing today. This is the buying process, and you're going to see this in a couple different stages. And we're going to break it down and talk about each one step by step, about the initial consultation, shopping for a home, what happens behind the scenes with escrow and lending, as well as what needs to happen during the home buying process with your due diligence, and finally closing and getting the keys. So let's break it down just a little. So the first thing that we're going to do in the buying process is have an initial consultation with me, myself, Kristen Jurevich, helping you as a potential homeowner in the near future. We're going to sit down either virtually, maybe when the shelter in place is lifted, hopefully we'll be able to have another conversation in person, but I'm here to determine your wants and needs of buying a house that's best for you, your family, or anyone else who is also purchasing the home with you. We are going to discuss the process and set expectations on what to accept when buying a home. We'll also discuss agent services. Because not all agents are the same, I'm going to let you know how we're going to discuss things differently. We'll also talk about the market conditions, because you've heard of a seller's market and a buyer's market, but they're not the same. And let's talk about the current market that we are in at that particular time and how that pertains to you. And that also is looked at from a local level, because what's going on in San Jose is probably not what's happening in Hollister or Monterey or anywhere else in California. So that is something that I am going to specifically talk to you and also kind of match your needs to the market. Also, we're going to talk about the lending qualifications, which I have another point that we'll talk about shortly. And we'll also talk about the agency relationships. Did you know that there's 3 different types of realtors? There's a buyer's agent, a seller's agent, and an agent who represents both the buyer and seller, and that's looked at from a broker level, such as Intero Real Estate Services. Not just me, myself, Kristen Jurevich, bringing in a buyer and a seller to the same property. Did you know that? So, when we're in our consultation, we're also going to be getting a loan pre-approval. So before we even start looking at properties or getting excited and finding a specific home, we want to make sure you are pre-approved with a qualified lender. So we want to make sure you obtain the loan approval from a lender. Here's some great things that a lender is going to need, so you are prepared. Last 2 years tax returns, last 2 months bank statements for everybody who's going to be on the loan. And we'll need pay stubs for the last 30 days or the last 2 pay periods, which it could be every other week, but at least the lender needs that information. They'll need a copy of your driver's license. If you're not a US citizen, they'll also need a copy of your green card, the front and back, information on your current mortgage if you currently own a home, and information on your inheritance, as well as child support, divorce, bankruptcy, or other information that might affect your lending capability. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to get that list over to you so you can start preparing those documents so you can be ready. Once you find a home, we could get you connected with a lender. So any questions so far? Great. Step 2, we're going to talk about the property. This is a fun part. We get to go home shopping after you have that beautiful pre-approval letter saying that you are qualified for X amount of money. We're going to start looking at homes. We'll tour properties that meet your ideal needs. We can start online, and I can connect you with the MLS for local data. There's, of course, a couple other sites that we can connect with as far as getting sneak peek at what's coming up on the market. And we're going to just monitor the inventory and see if there's anything that you like so we can get you in there. Next, we're going to find a home and make an offer. So once you find that home, we're going to review and sign all available disclosures and reports that are available from the seller. I always like to ask that up front so you have the knowledge before you write an offer on giving a correct value that you feel the home is worth. Then we're going to talk about appropriate strategies and submit a reasonable offer. Of course, the market affects the value. The current conditions of the property also affects the value. So there's quite a few things that we will discuss when we sit down and actually write an offer on a property that you do like. So going on to step 3, escrow and loan information. So these are things that are going on kind of behind the scenes, like the matrix. How it all comes together, it's very important. So once we have an accepted offer, the seller is going to open up escrow with it, who is a neutral third party who makes sure that the home is transferred to you, the new owner, and not have any liens on the property, and it's free and clear. While that's happening, you're also going to deposit funds into escrow, and that's going to be negotiated with the contract. I will sit with you and we'll go over how much needs to be deposited into escrow, and that goes towards your down payment and closing costs, which that is also something the lender discusses with you, and we will also have a conversation about that when we write the offer. So we're going to submit home information to a lender. Once we have an accepted contract or ratified contract, we're going to also send a copy to your lender because they need to start things on the lending side, which is very important to start right away. You're going to make sure the appraisal is ordered because you have a certain timeline in order to get appraisal contingencies removed. So that is something that we're also going to talk about in the next step. We'll also confirm contingency removal dates and the loan condition. Once again, that's part of my job as your agent to make sure we're meeting deadlines on the contract. So typically, the contingency removal dates are between 17 and 21 days. Depending on the market, depending on your lender, we might be able to go a little quicker, or sometimes there's things that are out of our control, such as the appraiser can't get out there in time and we have to renegotiate or ask for an extension. So also with the loan process, we're going to go through the loan underwriting and appraisal. So when you're working with a lender, the lender has a lot of things going on behind the scenes that the real estate agent and the buyer, we might not necessarily see. They're going to be reviewing your file, making sure that they have all your documentation lined up and ready to go so that you qualify for the loan. The appraisal is ordered by the lender, and the appraiser is going out to the property in the meantime while there's other things going on. So that's all happening with the lending process. We'll also select your home insurance and provide that to escrow and your lender. It's very important to start shopping for your home insurance early, especially in California, because we have had wildfires in the past. There are natural hazards that do affect your insurance. So we don't want any surprises towards the end because those costs are extremely high sometimes. So now we're jumping into the real estate side. So once you have an accepted offer, We already talked about the escrow and the loan process that's happening on one side. Now on the other side of the train, choo-choo, is the real estate side, where we need to inspect the property to make sure that what you're purchasing has value and it is worth what you offered. So we're going to be doing inspections. You can start with a property, a general inspection, a pest inspection, and a roof inspection. That kind of gives us a general snapshot of the property, and then you can investigate further. And depending on where you are and in the market, and if the seller has already provided this information to you, you might have to pay for these inspections yourselves as a buyer. Sometimes the seller has provided them as a courtesy. You can always get a second opinion, have a contractor look at it further, but that is something that we will also discuss once we write an offer, depending on the information that we have received. So do not stress. Once you get into contract, you're not 100% committed. You're only committed until those contingencies are removed. And a contingency is a way for you to back out of the contract without losing your deposit. As long as you haven't done that in writing, then you'll be able to get that deposit back. And of course, working with a great team, we want to make sure that we're all on the same page when contingency removals are removed from the inspection, the appraisal, and the loan contingency, as well as a few others. You are going to be very well aware of what is happening when contingencies are removed. We're also going to review the disclosures again. We've received them up front. We've been in the house. We've started the loan process. Let's do a little refresher. We can have a conversation together. We can review documents virtually, or we can actually ask for more information. So continuing on with our due diligence, we're going to negotiate the offer. So after we get our home, pest, any inspection that you want back, we get to review it, and we could potentially ask the seller to renegotiate the contract, either by a price reduction, asking the seller to make repairs, or asking for a credit for the repairs for you to do after closing. There are different tactics that we have to approach this carefully, because there are some things that the lender will want done if they know about. So that's where an experienced agent like myself will have a conversation with you on how to best proceed with any issues that come up in the inspections. So at that time, you received all your reports. It's too much to handle, you don't want to move forward, you can always cancel the contract at that time, because we haven't removed our contingency removal for inspections. So don't stress, your deposit could be returned. We just want to make sure we follow the contract timelines. All right, any questions so far? I know that was a lot of information, and that goes for all the inspections as well that you receive. So you can ask for repairs on the roof. If there's a pool inspection, anything that needs to be fixed, you can always ask. It's up to the seller if they would like to respond or say no, but it doesn't hurt to try, right? So removing contingencies. After inspection and confirmed loan approval from the lender, you can remove contingencies in writing. So as I've already mentioned, a contingency is a way to back out of the contract as a buyer. There's quite a few ways that you can back out of a contract without losing your deposit, so please don't stress when you're buying a home. That we do our best to protect your best interest, and if the home is not working out, then you can ask for repairs, ask for a credit, or decide maybe we're going to keep searching for a property. Either way, that's fine. Let's just have a conversation about that. So this is really important. Step 4, I left it up just for a few seconds longer so you can see and remember that you do have to do your inspections if you want, and then move forward if you're comfortable. So finally, the most exciting time, closing time. That's it. That's all my singing you're gonna get for today. We get to do a buyer walkthrough to confirm all the repairs are done 5 days before closing, or you can negotiate another time, but it's typically 5 days in California. And that's just making sure the seller has started packing their house, the repairs are completed, and there's no new issues that we need to deal with right away. Property conditions should be consistent with the condition the offer was accepted. That's very important, and also it's a good reminder to the seller that we would like to purchase the home how we saw it the day we wrote the offer. or the day that we saw the property. So we get to sign off at that time. This brings back the lender and the escrow into the real estate part of this. You're going to sign loan documents and review closing cost statements about a week before closing. So sometimes it might not be a week, it might be a couple days before, maybe 4 days before. It's going to be a little rushed. Please, when your lender is ready to have you sign loan docs, just do everything you can to make that appointment, because they have to be signed, notarized, and get back to the escrow officer right away. So we just want to make sure that we are working towards that timeline and being as quick as possible, because there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes. You see I like dancing? Always trying to throw those moves in there. Also, the lender sends to the title company the funding for balance. So they want to make sure that your buyer's funds are in, because you have a down payment that you have to pay for. And you also have closing costs, which we will talk about when we have our initial consultation or when we write the offer. Your lender is going to talk about it. Then we're bringing it up again. So see, multiple times, we want to make sure that you're comfortable with the loan that you have obtained, because when you close, 30 years is a long time. Or I'm going to be calling you in a couple years asking if you want to sell. So we want to make sure that you are comfortable with that payment. So jumping on to the final celebration, this has kind of a special word: recording, transfer title, close of escrow, day you get keys, COE. There's a lot of terms for this, but this is very important. This is the done deal. The deed is recorded by the county recorder's office, and you get keys to your new home, theoretically. Sometimes we have to negotiate things a little differently, but you'll know about that once we write the offer or when we're countering our offer back and forth. So that end day is when you actually get keys. It's recording, the deed is transferred. So the escrow is that middleman. They want to make sure you deliver clear title, the buyers bring in their funds, and then we have a perfect happy ending, which is very exciting for everybody. And now the hard work happens of you moving into your house. So you are all invited to my next webinar on July 2nd at 2 p.m., same time, same place. If you are free today, I am going to host a webinar for 17 Ahwahnee Street in San Juan Bautista. It's actually a virtual open house. So if you've never been to one, you are more than welcome to come and check it out. I have the MLS link on or the virtual web link on the MLS, but feel free to send me a message and I'd be happy to send you a personal link in the meantime. So if anyone has any questions, please let me know. I'm just going to double check. It was such a pleasure having you on today. I hope you got something great from the buying process, and I look forward to you saying yes to the address with Kristen Jurevich.